In today's video, we are comparing Monday.com versus Asana. They are by far the two most popular online project management software available today. But both Monday and Asana has similar concepts and functionality, with Monday being more modern in this layout, but Asana is offering features better suited for larger teams. What we will discuss in the video are questions you need to answer before choosing which project management tool to use for things like adoption tenants, team size, and the type of projects you are working on. Asana was created in 2012, Monday.com in 2014. Monday has rapidly gained the upper hand over Asana, as demonstrated by its higher number of users and popularity on social media platforms. But sometimes the most popular isn't necessarily the best, or perhaps that's something my mom told me in high school, so I wouldn't feel. I'll make a quick mention that I won't be discussing the pricing in this video because that is something that can easily fluctuate and it's easy to compare on your own. But I do have links in the description of this video that will take you to the pricing page of both services. I appreciate you using my link in the description below. It will help support my YouTube channel at no additional cost to you. So now let's get back to the review. Let's first talk about the adoption tendency. One thing to consider is how well your team tends to adopt new software and procedures. Some people are more change resistant than others and won't put the work into learning. The user experience and layouts with Monday.com are much cleaner and more simplistic. Asana looks more technical in its layout. Both allow you to create Kanban boards in which you can visualize tasks, projects, deadlines on a single board. This method of visualization became popular with Trello and is adopted nicely and on both of these platforms. However, if you have complicated projects with many team members and a hard deadline, you may prefer to use Gantt Chart. If you are not familiar with Gantt Chart, they are used to create visual layout of timeline of an entire project. Here's an example of the Gantt chart on Monday.com. The list of tasks is laid out in the left hand side and it is created into a visual on the right side. This is really helpful when you have a team collaborating on a project with hard timeline. The length of the bars are indicated on the right of how much time it takes for each of these tasks. So it's easy to see the progression of a project with estimated timelines for each task. Now Asana that doesn't use Gantt chart, but they use their own version called Times. It's not terrible, but it is also, in my opinion, just feel less clear and a little more chaotic when you compare it with Gantt chart on the Monday.com. Now let's talk about the team size. When your business grows in size, so does the complexity. Unfortunately, things just get more complicated and harder to manage the larger team. So with that being said, Monday.com is better suited for the teams of 20 or less, while Asana is great for team over 20 members. The reason for that is Asana allows you to create more complicated organizational charts with restricted access permissions. You just need a shared company email address to create your team within the platform. Here's a visual of how that looks in Asana, but what we are looking on at the screen is a document just for managing the organization itself, and Asana let alone an actual. You can see this is a layout and it is something you just jump into lightly and make an analogy of this. Monday.com is more like an iPhone where the design is simplistic and easy to use. Asana is like an Android phone where you can have more control to dial the phone into your preference, but it's easier to get lost in the sauce. One's not necessarily better than the other, it's just what's better fit for you. So let's take a moment to discuss what type of projects you are working on. Both the Asana and Monday offer Agile Management, which is great for developer projects, but it is little weaker when it compares to creative projects. The reason for that is that the size of the files you are working with. Monday offers 5 gigs of total file storage on the basic plan and goes up to 20 gigs on the standard and 100 gigs on the pro plan. Asana has unlimited file storage, but your file size is limited to 100 megs. I mentioned this because the file size on Monday.com is limited to 500 packs. So this really depends on what you need for your business. But I would suggest is to go into your file section and your computer and look for the file sizes of your collaborating and what the size they have. If you're going to be uploading files larger than 100 megs, then it might make sense to use. For me, my typical video files are larger than 100 megs, but this depends on what type of work you are doing personally. I prefer Monday because the tool you ended up using is only as good as your ability for your team to do, With Monday at your adoption rate tends to do better because the tool is built around simplicity and ease of use. I'm working for some companies that tried to use Asana and the team members were constantly confused by the layout. It never really got off the ground, but we also didn't have professionally trained project managers that was managing the tool. We kind of just dumped it on the office manager and it didn't pan out. Well, I would only recommend Asana if you have someone in the house and it will be their main focus to implement and educate your team on the tool. You can get more into the need with Asana and this is great, but only if you have someone willing to manage the process for you again. I appreciate you using my affiliate link in the description below. So lastly on the screen here, you will see the tutorial on both Monday and Asana. And I'm going to walk you through both of these tools so that you can make the right decision for your business. I'll catch you in the next time.